Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And today we begin the month of December by talking about festivals. And we've got some unusual festivals to talk about today. Of course, during December, we've got Christmas to look forward to and New Year's Eve. Check out the fireworks on New Year's Eve, of course. But hey, there are some other celebrations going on in the month of December that we'd like to tell you about today.
Yeah, some celebrations I'm not as familiar with. One in Japan, one in Switzerland. Oh, it looks like we're going to go globe-trotting, which means we're going to go all around the world. Yeah, mostly I'm familiar with American traditions, Chinese traditions, of course, because we live here. But this will be fun. So let's get started, guys. We're going to read through day 1.
As winter takes its icy grip and the year comes to a close, many people around the world look forward to celebrating Christmas and New Year's. Many places hold other midwinter celebrations, though. After all, who doesn't need a bit of festive cheer during the bleak, harsh winter? Let's learn about some of these other December celebrations. You might even be inspired to take part. Chichibu Night Festival, Japan, December 2nd through 3rd. The Chichibu Festival was first celebrated about 300 years ago, but it's already one of the 3 biggest annual float festivals in Japan. Wonderfully elaborate floats are pulled around the city, while on-board dancers perform fabulous kabuki, a classical form of Japanese dance. Those in attendance are also treated to an array of gorgeous fireworks that light up the night sky. This festival was originally held once farming had finished for the year. It was a way for people to relax and celebrate their hard work. Küsnacht Klausjagen, Switzerland, December 5th. Every year on December 6th, people throughout Switzerland celebrate St. Nicholas Day. However, in the small town of Küsnacht, December 5th is the day of another extraordinary ceremony, Klausjagen, or Nicholas Chase. At 8:15 p.m., precisely all the town's lights are shut off. This arouses excitement among the assembled spectators. Soon, dozens of passionate local farmers begin the parade by snapping whips as they lead the way along the parade route. Following them are hundreds of people wearing massive candle-lit hats. Then comes the grand finale, St. Nicholas himself, accompanied by a marching band playing the Santa song. These traditions are hundreds of years old and were intended to drive away evil spirits.
Okay, you guys, let's get started. We've got 5 festivals for some winter fun. It is the fun time of the year, especially if you like snow and cold weather. We don't get much snow here, do we? But I do enjoy the colder weather. I can't lie, I hate the heat. So let's look at the first paragraph. As winter takes its icy grip, if you use this word grip, it can be a verb or a noun. It just means you hold something, you take something in your hand, you keep a firm hold of it. But here it's sort of an icy grip on, I guess, the weather, right? It's not actually holding something like a book or your bag. You could grip something tightly. Oh, if you're on the MRT or the bus, sometimes you'll take hold of those straps. We'll grip them tightly so we don't fall down. But here it's just sort of just a way to say, oh, it's really got us, in its grasp and its grip. And it's hard to get away from the cold, especially in some of these countries.
Exactly. So yes, sometimes we feel like prisoners during winter when we have to stay home because it's so cold outside.
Yeah.
Again, that doesn't really happen here in Taiwan, but you have to imagine colder places like Korea, Japan, Europe, North America, etc. It gets quite cold in the winter, and you're kind of stuck in the home, and it seems like all outdoor activity stops. But in any case, however, there are some festivals because many people around the world look forward to celebrating Christmas and New Year's. Those, of course, are the main festivals of the year, but many places hold other midwinter celebrations, though. So lots of places have sort of festivals or holidays that take place in the middle of winter, although December is kind of early winter to me, but it's still getting kind of cold. And after all, who doesn't need a bit of festive cheer during the bleak, harsh winter. So notice in the title we've got the word festival, which refers to a celebration, a holiday of sorts. Like here in Taiwan, of course, we've got Mid-Autumn Festival and we've got Duanwu Festival.
Yeah.
But here we've got the word festive, and that's an adjective, which means things are happy and cheerful. So indeed, yeah, who doesn't need some festive cheer? Who doesn't need to be happy during the winter?
I think we all do. So, yeah, if you describe something as being bleak, it means there's no hope. You know, there's a very famous choral piece called In the Bleak Midwinter. It started out as a poem, I think. But, yeah, it's quite lovely. But bleak just means, just nothing out there that looks enticing or makes you happy. So let's learn about some of these other December celebrations. You might want to even take part. To take part just means to participate. Are you taking part in tonight's company party? Are you taking part in your school's play? You know, maybe you have a play that's being put on by your school, whether it's high school, junior high, college. Yeah, you might want to take part.
You might want to participate, indeed. So let's keep things in our neighborhood here, not in Taiwan, but more in Japan there. We're going to go to the city of Chichibu. And that is a town kind of near Tokyo. I think it's northeast of Tokyo on the island of Honshu. And Chichibu has a night festival, and it takes place, starting tomorrow, December 2nd through 3rd. Now, the Chichibu festival was first celebrated about 300 years ago, but it's already one of the 3 biggest annual float festivals in Japan. So it started about 300 years ago,
wow.
And it's been going strong, or at least it has become more and more popular because it's one of the 3 biggest annual float festivals in Japan. What is a float festival? Well, it's a celebration of floats. And what is a float? Well, we're not talking about pouring root beer into a glass with ice cream.
No.
That's a kind of drink. But a float is what you say, huacha in Chinese. It's something pulled in a parade, and it's decorated usually with flowers. And they have all sorts of shapes and sizes. And I think, of course, they have floats in parades like during Thanksgiving in the United States.
Or the Rose Bowl parade in California, which is very big. People can only use roses, flowers, to decorate their floats. Sometimes these floats actually have their own engines, but a lot of them are pulled, as Tom said. And back 300 years ago, I'm sure they had to pull them. So they're wonderfully elaborate floats. They're not just simple. They spend a lot of time decorating these things. They look pretty cool. So there are a lot of details if it's elaborate. And they have on-board dancers who perform fabulous kabuki. So you've got dancers that are on the floats themselves. That's still very popular anywhere that has floats or a parade with floats. You'll have people on top of the float singing, dancing, performing sometimes. In the Thanksgiving parade, like Tom was talking about in New York, they'll often have groups from Broadway performing so people can see a little snippet or a little piece of the show to get them excited to come. So those in attendance are always treated to an array of gorgeous fireworks that light up the night sky. That sounds beautiful too. An array means just a large variety of something. You've got an array or a variety of things that you can look at. So it's an impressive range of things that you're looking at if you have an array of something.
Right, so you can expect to be dazzled by the floats and by the fireworks, so it sounds like it's worth going to. Hey, you've only got a day to get there, so you better talk to your travel agent right away if you've got time. And again, yes, there's an array of beautiful, gorgeous, magnificent fireworks that will light up the night sky. Remember, during December, the sky is especially dark because days are shorter in the winter and the nights are longer. So, of course, the night sky can be quite dark and ideal for fireworks. Now, this festival was originally held once farming had finished for the year. Kind of like a harvest festival, it sounds like. That's what happens a lot in the fall. Of course, they were growing crops all year, starting in the spring and through the summer, and then into the fall. They actually harvested all the plants, rice, wheat, whatever, corn. And hey, the harvest was done, and they decided to celebrate a harvest, and it was a way for people to relax and celebrate their hard work. So yes, indeed, they worked hard for a long time, and now it's time to kick back and relax.
Yeah, I'm sure, especially 300 years ago, those poor farmers and the people who were working in the fields were awfully tired. And they didn't get a lot of downtime. Downtime is just time you can relax. You don't have to worry about things. You can just kick back and maybe participate in some hobby that you like, or maybe go out and exercise with your friends. Back then, they didn't have a lot of free time. So this would have been very fun for the folks, especially when it first originated or started getting going. So this was, again, first celebrated about 300 years ago. And now it's still going because it's very popular.
I did want to go back to the floats there. Remember, it said that you'll see onboard dancers perform kabuki, which is a kind of Japanese dance. Now, if you're on something that you stand on, like a plane or a boat or a bus, we say you're on board, okay?
True.
So, indeed, people have this confusion all the time. You get in a taxi, you get in a car, but you get on a bus, or you get on a boat, or you get on a plane. So you're on board if you're in the airplane. Even though you sit down inside the plane, we still say you're on board and ready to take off. So again, we've got these dancers who are dancing on the float. And of course, people are taking pictures, having fun, and hearing some traditional music and having a great time there in Japan. And just in a couple of seconds, we're going to go to Switzerland. So stay tuned. But right now, we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师。今天讲解的是12月1号 Unit 1 5 Festivals for some winter fun 第一天的课程。天气一天比一天冷。老师之前在温哥华念书的时候，曾听自己的老师说，冬天的自杀率比较高，天气会影响人的情绪。大家应该都体验过。不过，冬天并非全然都是暗淡无光的。或许正因为冬天严寒的气候容易让人觉得沮丧，世界各个角落的文明都发展出极有特色的庆典，聚集人气也带来希望。今天课程内容介绍了2大祭典，分别是日本的致富业祭以及瑞士屈斯纳赫特追逐圣尼古拉斯。好，我们现在一起来看看学习重点，请看到第一段的地方。好，第一段呢，老师要请问大家一个问题哦，冬天到了，大家写英文作文的时候，除了用 cold、chilly 之外，还能不能想到用别的形容方法呢？这一段有2个关于冬天意象的描写，很朴实又很生动，值得大家背下来运用。第一个，请看第一句 ，As winter takes its icy grip 这个地方。好，请同学特别注意 ，grip 就是紧紧抓住的意思。那么后来衍生出了掌控、掌握的意思，前面还有 icy 冰冷作为修饰，感觉就像是整个世界都被冬天冰冷的双手掌控。再来，请同学看到第3句的 bleak harsh winter。bleak 原本的意思呢，其实就是 cold and miserable。那用来描述状况或未来前景没什么希望、暗淡无光的也可以哦。好，再来，请同学看到第2段的部分，也就是介绍日本的致富业绩。请同学看到第1个句子，到底这个所谓的致富业绩是什么呢？它是 one of the 3 biggest annual flow festivals in Japan。请同学注意 flow 就是花车，而在第2个句子，我们用 elaborate 制作精美的这个词形容词来形容它。再来，请同学看到第3个句子 Those in attendance are also treated to an array of gorgeous 这个句子。好，请同学注意 Those in attendance 意思是出席的那些人。那他们怎么样呢？ They are treated to， 请同学特别把 be treated to 画起来。Treat somebody to something， 其实就是用饮食或者呢一些娱性的节目来招待别人。比方说 The old man had treated him to a drink or two， 那就是请他喝了1-2杯。那在这里呢，就是出席的人呢可以欣赏到绚丽的烟火。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. This is our festival unit, which gives us a chance to learn about other countries and their culture and their festivals. A country's festivals tells a lot about the people themselves, I think, especially when a lot of the festivals that we celebrate are passed down through the generations, which is kind of cool. You can see where they started and how they've changed over time. The first one we talked about, of course, was the Chichibu. Is that how you say it? My Japanese
Chichibu.
Chichibu?
That's how I learned it, I guess.
Yeah, my Japanese is bad, guys. Chichibu Night Festival, and that happens from December 2nd to the 3rd. And this one started a while ago, 300 years ago. I mean, I guess that's not a long time ago, but it is quite a while ago. It was one of the biggest festivals in Japan. Now, they use floats. Floats, of course, we described as being kind of like, kind of like a trailer that is pulled by some other engine. Or nowadays, we have floats that have engines themselves. So they can just move along. If you, I'm familiar with things like the Thanksgiving Parade in New York or the Rose Parade in California, which is my favorite because they can only decorate the floats with flowers. And I love to watch that with my mom. I remember just oohing and awing over the floats. Well, these are pretty cool too. They're very elaborate. They're pulled around the city and they have dancers who perform on board doing some kabuki, which is a classical form of Japanese dance. That's very elaborate itself. And those in attendance are treated to an array of gorgeous fireworks that light up the sky. We love fireworks here in Taiwan too, don't we?
We certainly do. And remember, this festival was held to celebrate the harvest because those farmers worked so hard.
True.
And everybody deserves to have a break after working so hard all year. So now let's leave Japan and fly to Switzerland. And in just a couple of days, there's going to be a celebration there called Klausjagen. And I hope I pronounced that right. I only had one semester of German back in high school, so the umlaut U there is kind of hard to pronounce. Küchnacht? I know Nacht means night. I know Nacht means night. And Klausjagen, well, we'll find out what that means in just a second. So every year on December 6th, people throughout Switzerland celebrate St. Nicholas Day. So if you see St. Nicholas, of course, that oftentimes refers to Santa Claus. He's oftentimes referred to as Old St. Nick or St. Nicholas. But this is kind of different here. St. Nicholas, I believe, was a real person whom Santa Claus was kind of modeled after.
Yeah, he really was a real person. And that's how we have Old St. Nick. If you know any Christmas songs, we have several that just refer to Old St. Nick or St. Nicholas. So yeah, Klausjagen or Nicholas Chase. Ooh, we're going to chase people. So if you're talking about extraordinary, you're talking about something that isn't normal. It's something that's extra special. Or if you break up the word, it says extra ordinary or extraordinary. So it's pretty cool. You want to catch things that have that descriptive word extraordinary because it's likely you won't see it too many times in your lifetime. So it's kind of a cool thing to go to. Let's talk about what happens during this particular Klausjagen in Switzerland.
Okay, so indeed it means Nicholas Chase. So you can see the word Klaus in there, which is Claus, Santa Claus. Klaus is how you would say it in German. And I guess Jagen means to chase in German. I did not know that, or a chase as a noun. And at 8:15 precisely, right at 8:15
because they're Germans. Well, they're Swiss German.
Right, so they have the same idea of time as the Japanese do. Everything must be on time.
Never be late.
For some reason, right at 8:15, not 1 second late, not 1 second before, but right on the dot.
Interesting.
Precisely, all the town's lights are shut off. So here, precisely is an adverb, and it just means something is precise. And that just means it's right on. It's totally accurate. There's nothing false or wrong about it. So again, it's right on the dot, right at 8:15 p.m.
Very interesting. Why they picked that time is kind of strange. I have to look that up. So this arouses excitement among the assembled spectators. So let's look at spectators first. Spectator is somebody who is viewing some sort of spectacle, and it's related to an old-fashioned term for eyeglasses, which is spectacles. You know, I have a pair of spectacles. We don't call them spectacles anymore, but if you're reading a historical fiction or something in history, they'll often refer to someone's glasses as spectacles. And if you're looking at something, you are a spectator. Now, if you arouse someone's interest, or here we're arousing someone's excitement, it just means you cause it to happen, you provoke it. You get that strong reaction. You can arouse someone's anger, someone's excitement. You can arouse a lot of different kinds of emotions. But this one arouses excitement among those who have gathered together. Remember, they've assembled themselves, so they're already there, and they're ready to view whatever is planned.
Right, it causes excitement, it triggers excitement, and people, of course, are getting very excited. If you're watching this, of course, you're a spectator. And soon, dozens of passionate local farmers begin the parade by snapping whips as they lead the way along the parade route. So this is a parade, again, with lots of people going down the street with floats and things like that. So, of course, it's quite a spectacle to see. Lots of people want to check it out, especially children. And the parade begins with passionate local farmers. Now, passion is a strong love for something or a strong interest in something.
Yeah.
You're very passionate about it. You're very emotional about it. So we've got these passionate local farmers. Yes, they believe they've done a great job. And they, of course, are very proud of the harvest that they just took care of. So they're passionate, loving local farmers, and they begin this parade because they're going to snap their whips. A whip, of course, is a long piece of leather that is oftentimes used to torture people. If you whip someone, it causes a lot of pain. Or if you whip an animal, of course, it's done to get them to behave in a certain way.
Get them to move.
Them to move, exactly. Whip. And, of course, snapping is the sound they make, kind of a snap sound when they whip the animal or whip the person.
Kind of a cracking sound.
Crack the whip.
Yeah,
right.
Crack the whip. That was one of my dad's favorite sayings to the kids. We're going to crack the whip, which meant, you kids get working. We're gonna make sure you're working hard. Crack the whip.
Although he wouldn't really whip you, would he?
My dad was had the softest heart ever. No, my mom would spank us.
Oh, no.
So my dad, though, you didn't want him to yell at you. He was scary. He would use scary words. But no, he never touched any of us. So snapping whips, you can also, there's a very famous breakfast cereal commercial in America, Snap, Crackle, and Pop, describes the sound when you add milk to some cereals that are quite crunchy. Snap, Crackle, Pop. So you can snap your fingers. Here we're talking about a sound where it just has that very sudden, sharp, cracking sound. And you'll see this motion if you're watching tigers and lions being trained by zoo trainers. They'll crack the whip. So they lead the way along the parade route, and following them are hundreds of people wearing massive candle-lit hats. That sounds very dangerous, Tom.
It does, especially if there are lots of wooden houses around, but they're hats with candles on them, I guess. And then comes the grand finale, which is the last thing that occurs, and it's usually the most exciting thing, and that would be St. Nicholas himself, accompanied by a marching band playing the Santa song. A marching band, of course, is a band with people wearing colorful uniforms and plumes on their hats, and they're playing instruments like drums and trumpets and trombones and saxophones and stuff like that. And, of course, they're playing the Santa song with all those brass instruments.
Oh, this sounds really wonderful. So these traditions are hundreds of years old and were intended to drive away evil spirits. Of course, we don't want any evil spirits around, so I'm all for it. Right now, though, we're getting close to being out of time, so we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher one more time.
好的，接下来请同学看到第三段。第三段所介绍的是另外一个节日、节庆、庆典。是在瑞士，瑞士的什么地方呢？屈斯纳赫特。那这个地方他们有一个庆典活动叫 Klausjagen。那 Klausjagen 是什么呢？在这一段里面就跟我们解释了，原来啊，12月6号就是一个特别的节日，他们会庆祝圣尼古拉斯。OK， 那再来，它的前戏，也就是12月5号的时候，有一项很特别的活动。如果我们把它翻译成英文，就是 Nicholas Chase。所以我们说追逐圣尼古拉斯。那这个活动到底是做什么呢？原来在晚上8点15分的时候，整个地方、整个乡镇，他们的灯火全部都会关掉 ，Lights are shut off。那关灯以后会造成什么样的效果呢？请看到第4句 This arouses excitement among the assembled spectators. 这里要请同学特别注意的，首先第一个是词语搭配，就是让别人感到非常的兴奋，很期待。那动词呢，我们就是用 arouse 引发。那再来，请同学看到的是后面的 assemble spectators。spectators 当然就是来围观的这一些民众咯。那他们怎么样呢？他们是聚集起来，我们用被动语态 assembled spectators。好，再来，请同学看到第7个句子。第7个句子 Then comes the grand finale。有没有同学觉得好奇怪哦？这里在动词 comes 的前面用 then， 难不成 then 变成了主词吗？如果你对这个句子感到奇怪，那就表示你对英文文法有一定的了解哦。一般而言，这种时间副词它是不会放在动词的前面的，所以我们知道这是倒装句。真正的主词在后面，就是从这个 comes 后面 the grand finale 这边，那是什么意思呢？也就是后面压轴的重头戏来了，接着就来了。好，再来请同学看到第8个句子 These traditions are hundreds of years old and were intended to drive away evil spirits. 所以原来啊，这些传统都有好几百年的历史了。一刚开始的时候，其实是用来驱魔的。Drive away evil spirits. 好，以上就是我们针对这个单元第1天课程的中文解说。谢谢大家。
That's it for day 1, guys. We've got another day to talk about festivals. We hope you'll join us then. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom. Goodbye.
Bye.